This video is pointless. I don't have an answer to the question I'm going to talk about for however long. I just have a bunch of vague feelings that I'm throwing at you because my therapy is too expensive to sidetrack with dumb D&D topics. Why don't we let players get away with bad charisma? I don't mean on their sheet. I know you let people use charisma as a dumb stat. At least I hope you do. I mean the real players at the table with us. Why don't we let our friends get away with having bad charisma? People let me get away with having bad strength all the time. Everyone accepts it when I play a super strong, bulked up barbarian, despite the fact that people constantly confuse me for a twink, and when I say that I'm straight, I can tell they don't believe me. I can play a hyper-intelligent wizard despite the fact that I'm dumb as hell. I can do gymnast-level backflips as a dexterous rogue, even though I bump into every doorway I go through. My character with high con can tank several hits from a sword and keep fighting. Meanwhile, I'm still aching from my last doorway accident. Nobody bats an eye when my druid with high wisdom never misses a single detail about what's going on around them. I'm autistic and have ADHD, but the second I want to pretend to be a smooth-talking badass, you ask me how I convinced the guard to let me through? You're telling me I, as the player at the table, have to do the convincing. Buddy, I can't respond to a waiter telling me to enjoy a meal without saying, yeah, you too. Damn it, Thomas. I don't fucking know how to convince anyone of anything. I can't convince myself to get out of bed in the mornings. I have zero guard manipulation experience. And I know what you're gonna tell me. Good charisma rolls aren't supposed to replace role-playing. And you know what? Yeah, you're right. It's absolutely correct. None of us want players bypassing the roleplay because stats. I'm a damn theater major. I decided to juke in actual education so I could pretend to be someone I'm not all day. Highlight of roleplay. Roleplay is a highlight of D&D for me. I don't require everyone to go as hard as me when it comes to getting into their character, but I definitely want something more than, I roll persuasion. Oh! Bonus high because number big. Number big. That is boring. Of course, that's not what I want. I also want players to put some effort into their social checks and tell me how it is they try to persuade people or whatever the case may be. But I can't help but be bothered by this feeling that's itching at the back of my mind, quietly whispering, isn't this the antisocial nerd game? Why are you not letting your friends pretend to be cool? High charisma characters in fictional stories end up as being charismatic because the entire work is written to favor them as such. The conversations are thought out, not improv'd in the moment, and all of the writers have the mutual goal of making that one character look cool, or scary, or manipulative, or hot as hell, or whatever the scene needs them to be. Han Solo is something of a stereotype when it comes to cool characters, and a lot of cool guys in media share the same traits as him. Han is smooth. He looks hot. He acts hot. He's cocky in a way that makes you want to hit him, all the while you're hoping he hits you back. Is this why people think I'm a twink? Han is confident, but in a way that's egotistical. He's stubborn and refuses to admit whenever he's wrong, but is kind of funny and endearing. He's a show-off and selfish, but at the end of the day, he does care about other people and will do the right thing. When Han acts all cocky, tough, and uncaring, it actually works to push Han as charismatic, and the other characters respond as such. They react in ways that also push Han as being a charismatic character, even when they're mocking him or arguing against him. However, if a real human being here in our real human world acted anything like Han Solo at a table, they'd be a massive jackass. Holy hell would that person be insufferable to play with, constantly bickering with the party, refusing to admit when they're wrong, never bending to anything, and never wanting to follow the plot line. I love you. I know. Fucking What? What? Ruin a scene! You ruined this. Who says something like that? You might think Han Solo isn't a great example because he is a jackass. That's not a coincidence. That's a flaw he's written with. So you might not find him to be as charismatic as the filmmakers intended. And that's fine. Honestly, I agree with you. While I think of Han as the stereotype of cool guys in movies, I never thought he was quite as cool as the generation before me says he is. But that's beside the point. Some people will find Han charismatic, some won't. You can say that about any character you can think of. No matter how cool they are to you, you can find someone that'll disagree. So feel free to swap out Han with any character you find charming. The fictional work that character is from uses several pieces of the story to make them feel that way. But at a D&D table, we don't control jack shack but our one character and the things that come out of their mouth. We have a single piece to work with, and everything else is out of our hands. We can't expect our I know to be taken as the recognition of a long unspoken love between two characters too proud to admit it. Whenever we spit words out our mouth, we're opening ourselves up to any and all responses, any and all interpretations of whatever it is we just said. I know could be met with an eye roll from the table. Everyone thinking that you're very tone deaf and playing someone two-dimensional. You are solely responsible for making yourself look cool, or whatever it is that you're going for with your character. It's not other people's main priority. In fact, most likely it's not something that's on their minds at all. So what's the point I'm getting at here? I don't know. Like I said, these are vague feelings. It's nuanced, it's confusing, I don't really know how to fix it. I don't have an answer. I don't know where I stand on this issue, if it even is one. But I guess if I have anything I want to say, it's just that we should try to meet our friends halfway. I should make something clear here, because I've been talking from a first-person perspective this whole time, but I'm not actually talking about my personal needs. I love role-playing out situations. I love trying to play a charismatic character, and I love trying to figure out how to persuade, intimidate, or deceive people. It's all very fun for me, kind of like a social puzzle. And yes, I will look like an idiot sometimes, or put my foot in my mouth when something I thought was clever in my head turns out to not be when it exits my mouth. But those moments are funny, and super worth all the positives that come from role-playing a social encounter with the right group. I'm trying to advocate for a different kind of player, or for the people that we're new to playing with. I have been at many different tables with very different interests and approaches to D&D. While I usually end up playing with people that are in the more role-play, theater kid kind of world, I also have plenty of friends that aren't as comfortable, interested, or practiced with role-playing a character. And I have seen a lot of people fail to come across in the way they're intending to. The image of who they wanted their character to be is dead on arrival because they don't have the skill set or experience to deliver the right performance. And even people with experience can still miss the mark all the time. I know I sure, as I miss... Me make mistake as well. Roleplay ain't easy, is what I'm saying. So I think we as DMs should go into our games expecting players to struggle with stepping into their character correctly. Understand that people might be going for something different than it seems, and open up some conversations to pinpoint what it is they're trying to portray. Media has taught a lot of people that cocky characters are charming. Interactions in the real world teaches many of us that cocky people make you wish violence had less harsh sentences. Cockiness is also far from the only typically negative trait that media romanticizes. There are tons. And people are complex, so sometimes versions of these traits are pretty endearing when done right. So people can attempt to emulate that at the table. And fuck it up, because their take relies on those flawed tropes being used in an interpersonal environment. Role-playing feels more like having a conversation with real people than it does watching characters on a TV screen. So when your buddy Steve says something Han Solo would say, it might feel more obnoxious than it does cool. But you as a DM, and the other players at the table, might receive their roleplay better if you know that Steve is trying to be like Han, or whatever the case may be with that particular player and their character. If you listen with the intent to interpret their roleplay in the same light that they're delivering it in, you may realize that they're actually doing a pretty good job. It might make their character feel a lot less obnoxious now that you see their vision. If that's not the problem, though, these conversations can set you up for the inverse. To tell that player they aren't coming off as they're intending. To chat about why and find a way to fix it. You hand the player an opportunity to change their approach and make the game better for all of you. I'm not trying to excuse anyone from being a dick at the table, to be clear. This is where the nuanced issue of this conversation gets tough, because I can only speak to you one way. It's hard to tackle gray areas when there's no retorts. Finding the line between a player role-playing poorly and simply being an asshole is impossible to tackle from this side of the camera. It's a case-by-case issue, so you're gonna have to be the authority on whether or not somebody needs help, or if they just need to go. And if you plan on playing a character like this, or any character really, I do think it's on you as the player to start these kinds of conversations, to say early on, upfront and clearly, you plan on playing a cocky cool guy like Han. That way everybody knows what you're doing immediately. But not every player will do that, and new players won't even know that they're supposed to, so meet your players halfway. That's the video. Here's your antisocial goodbye. Special thank you to Cody Jones, Jaso Queso, Grant Breeze, Nolan Widmer, Duncan Cunny, and Drifter Star. 6 of the most charismatic people you will ever meet. And if you want to be charismatic, join the Patreon. It won't make you charismatic, but it will give me money. And I like money. I could swim in it like Scrooge McDuck if I get enough patrons. That's the plan here. I don't give a shit about the D&D stuff. I want the gold pile. Woo!